Just when you thought WWE couldn't be even more of a roller coaster than it already was, there's a bunch of rumours and murmurings out there that Raw last night, or 2 nights ago, whatever the hell it was rewritten at the last minute, which is why a lot of it didn't make much sense, especially Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush just coming back together as a team, even though on Sunday, Bobby Lashley had whipped Lio Rush's ass. Lio Rush, you need to have more respect for yourself, and you need to become the hero deep down you know you can be. Don't know what that means. But my name is Simon Miller, you are watching WhatCulture Wrestling. Let's forget all of that. Let's push it to one side and focus on SmackDown, which is also in the books and had some good bits and had some bad bits. And that's why we go through it and we give those good bits an up and we give those bad bits a down. That's the whole point of the show you're watching right now. Couple of last bits of housekeeping for the week. Remember, next week I'm not going to be here, and for 1 week only, Adam Cleary is going to be stepping into my shoes. Hopefully not literally, I need them to walk around. And also, what was the deal with all those glitches in yesterday's Ups and Downs for Raw? I didn't know about that. No one told me about that. And right now, nobody can give me a damn good answer. Anyway, let's up those downs. SmackDown started with Shane McMahon coming to the ring as a Kofi Kingston Elimination Chamber pay-per-view video aired, and by the time Shane got to the ring, he also said how impressed he was with the NXT call-ups on Raw. He loved it so much he's ensured they're going to be on SmackDown tonight as well, but the way he said Ciampa's name was the weirdest thing to happen in 2019 so far, and I believe we have an audio clip. Listen.
Ciampa.
What the hell is that, Shane? It's just Ciampa, Ciampa, Ciampa. We're also going to get a 6-man tag team match in our main event, and Randy Orton and Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan are going to team up to take on Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and of course Kofi Kingston. And then The Miz interrupted all this with a very sad face. He was devastated that he was responsible for losing their tag team championships and admitted to Shane O'Mac that he kind of used him because he did all of this to get the appreciation and the love of his father. And Miz, Mike, as we've talked about before, if you had to go through all of this just to get some affection and love from your dad, he's a bad person. Screw that guy, you don't need him in your life. This was all fine to a point, but then a giant white glove reached through my TV screen and slapped me around the face, because even though The Miz mentioned that we can't do automatic rematch clauses anymore, especially because Shane McMahon was the person who allowed those words to come out of his mouth a few months ago, have a guess what match we're going to get at WWE Fastlane. That's right, it's the Usos, the new tag team champions, taking on the best team in the world. Jimmy and Jay then walked out because why the hell not, and said they would agree to all of these terms as long as Shane McMahon forgave The Miz, but then started laying into the guy. They said he was a C-lister, they said he was a joke, they said he was a fraud, and it pissed McMahon off so much, he agreed, and he made said match. And I get it, and at least WWE referenced this and didn't pretend that we just made it up in our brains. But as a fan, what part of the story am I meant to buy into these days? Because 2 months ago, back in December, Shane McMahon was telling me no more automatic rematch clauses, but now in 2019, because nobody could come up with a better story, we're just going to ignore that because we want to get to the Usos versus Shane McMahon and The Miz again. And it's not a massive deal, but it does mean week to week I have absolutely no idea what does count and what doesn't count. I can't keep up with it, and sometimes that does piss you off because you think, oh, I like that little tweak they did there. But then 7 days later, oh, idiot, stupid me, I wasn't meant to take that as seriously as I did. It is absolutely bonkers, and therefore down. I also lost my mind a little bit at what happened next, but the match quality was so good, I ain't gonna worry about it, and I'm just gonna give it an up. Although, spoiler, a little another mini rant is coming. It was Aleister Black versus Andrade though, and it was like all the good, all the majesty, everything we love about NXT had been ripped up onto SmackDown, and if this is the kind of matches we're gonna get going forward, everything is gonna be all right. And I tell you, when Black did his little flip into his sat down pose, I could see it, I could envision it. In the future, that thing is gonna get over like Rover. Of course, the fact that WWE booked this match means that we probably were gonna get a winner and we were gonna get a loser, and we did. Black hit the Black Mass on Andrade and he pinned that guy clean. Cue rant. Did we really have to sacrifice Andrade here? I know that wins and losses don't matter, but couldn't we have found any other opponent, especially because as far as I was aware, Andrade is meant to be feuding with Rey Mysterio. In fact, the last time I think I saw these two people together, Andrade was sneaking up to Rey Mysterio and blindsiding him and kicking him in the teeth. But as we've already discussed, that was something I was meant to ignore. It wasn't part of the ongoing thread. I tell you, I need someone to send me notes before any WWE programming, just so I know where I'm at. So baffling sometimes, although Black did get a much better response here than he did on Raw, and that's nice. We like nice. A couple of backstage skits next. The Bar went and found Gargano and Ciampa and literally laughed and insulting them simply because they existed. And that is actually what happened. Plus, all the good guys that were in the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view match got together and shook hands and forgave each other, including the New Day, offering everybody pancakes. Throughout all this, the crowd was going absolutely nuts for Kofi Kingston too, which just goes to show it doesn't matter where you want on the card, all it ever takes is a few weeks. And if the stars align and your momentum explodes, you can wind up in this kind of position. Up. Then we did indeed get DIY versus Sheamus and Cesaro, and fair play to WWE credit where credit is due. We have taken all four of these guys and we are giving them as many opportunities as we possibly can, because Gargano and Ciampa did indeed win here. Up. And arguably that's a bigger deal than what happened on Monday nights, because as we know, the Revival, they've been having a little tete-a-tete with management over the last few weeks and even rumouredly asked for their release, whereas Sheamus and Cesaro, the Bar, they kind of feel like management boys these days, and even they got taken out by DIY. It wasn't as cut as dry and everything that happened on Raw, but who cares? Ciampa made the blind tag and Cesaro had no idea, so when Tommaso did hurl himself over the top rope and roll up Cesaro, he got the 1, 2, 3, and then the Swiss Superman looked like he'd seen a ghost because he just couldn't believe it. I mean, who would ever expect to be pinned in a match? You just don't see those things coming. You think things are going away and then you're getting pinned. Admittedly, if you are a long-term NXT and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa fan, you're probably pulling your hair out a little bit because this makes no sense from a storyline perspective and probably does ruin everything from their takeover plans at April. But let's just be happy that they're not on 205 Live, and that was a possibility at one stage. We then had the reverse of what we had earlier, and all the heels from the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view were getting together, and they were just staring at each other. And then this episode of SmackDown exploded into dust, which is why we're giving it a down. Asuka was finally back on SmackDown, answering that question we asked in a recent Why video, and you should go and watch that when we're done here. But she was also asked live in the ring, Asuka, do you feel like you've been overlooked recently? If she was being honest and hadn't have been scripted, she should have said yes. Instead mentioned that she's beat both Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and is ready for the next challenge. And all of this would have been fine, especially what we're about to talk about, if it had happened straight after the Royal Rumble. But given that she's been absent since then, and what happened here, it was like a 1-2 punch of sadness. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville arrived, with Mandy Rose being the one to accept this challenge. The match started and then Lacey Evans came out and did her walk down the aisle, turn around, walk back up the aisle thing, but let's not worry about that because no one cares, but it did cause a distraction, allowing Rose to attack Asuka from behind. Anyway, eventually the Empress of Tomorrow smashed Rose in the face with a knee, and that's where everything went bad. Mandy pretended she had an eye problem. Asuka, for some reason, didn't attack her because good guys aren't allowed to be smart in WWE. It was a trick, and Mandy Rose used that to roll Asuka up and pin her 1, 2, and 3. So everybody, this is why we kept Asuka off TV for all this time. Somebody ring my mother and tell her to come to my funeral, because I'm about to fall on the floor and die. After this, we also saw Charlotte Flair telling everybody that Becky Lynch should be arrested because of her recent actions, and The Miz told Shane McMahon that his dad is gonna be at Fastlane. Okay. More craziness with the NXT superstars continued because we got Ricochet versus Eric Young, yes he, of Sanity fame, and at no point did anybody tell me where Sanity has been for the last 8 weeks. Guess I'm just not supposed to care about that either, so there it is, there's my care gland, throwing it over there. But Ricochet was involved, so up. Hilariously too, we even had Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane at ringside, who did keep getting involved, but even that wasn't enough to stop Ricochet. He was flipping and flying around and looking like the smooth tamale that he is, and he, to be fair, did look smart, even though he was a good guy, because nobody could stop him. He eventually smashed Eric Young with the 630 to get the win, and again, we have to shout out WWE. These 4 dudes have come up and they can't lose, although I am very excited, and I tell you, very excited for the moment that Ricochet comes out and Michael Cole, or Todd Phillips, whoever, just calls him Rick because his name got shortened. 2 thumbs up for that. Looking forward to the future. One last up as well, because after a quick New Day interview, we did get our main event, including a little surprise for the upcoming pay-per-view. And again, yeah, that gets it up. Bryan cut a promo beforehand saying that he's not going to face anybody in the match that follows because he's already beaten them all at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And once again, he's right. Our WWE champion rarely lies. And as for the bout itself, it was just a lot of fun, and I would assume after this, we're going to segue and break them all up so they can go into individual WrestleMania programs. It's only a few weeks away. We do have one pay-per-view before that, though, and Daniel Bryan needs an opponent for that. So after Kofi Kingston had beaten the WWE champion with the Trouble in Paradise, Shane McMahon, he came back out, he got the microphone, he built the crowd up and said, I know who you will face on that night, Daniel Bryan, and it is gonna be Repo Man! No, he didn't say Repo Man, of course he didn't. That was just too obvious. You know how we roll here on Ups and Downs. He did give it to Kofi Kingston, which means at Fastlane, your main event is going to be Kofi versus Daniel Bryan, and I love it. Screw all these people going, he shouldn't be in a championship match just because he deserves it. Yes, he should. He seems like a really nice guy. He's been kicking ass for 11 years. Give him a darn opportunity. And I doubt Kofi is going to be victorious, but you never know. And anyway, even in a little bubble, in a little special magic crate that we can create, it was just a nice moment. As we've already established, I like nice moments, and the fans in the arena, they loved it too. So there, you go get him, Kofi. You go get him. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's SmackDown and which bits you care about and which bits you're just going to ignore because you don't know what's going to happen next week. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and please, go and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon Miller. Thank you very much for watching WhatCulture Wrestling, and don't think for one single solitary second I haven't been aware of all the glitches that have been going on in this video. Look at that. There's no one. That's it. I'm sorting this out right now. One touch speed dial. Adam, my man, yeah, is everything normal at WhatCulture?
Yeah?
Well, something's not right. Something's going on, but I think I know who's behind this, as we discussed. Are you cool to take over Ups and Downs just for next week, 1 week only, as I go and do some investigating?
2 seconds. Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you very much. Right. You know what you've done. Miller's coming to get you. I will see you in a couple of weeks.
I'm gonna fly to England and I'm gonna slap each and every one of y'all's bitch asses.